Pixel 7 Pro versus the Xiaomi 13 Pro camera comparison today. I am about to head to the American Dream Mall, so it's gonna be some interesting stuff for camera samples. Also for video, for the front-facing camera, the Xiaomi is only up to 1080p versus the Pixel is up to 4K 60. Starting off with the ultra wide, one thing I noticed right away is that a lot of the Pixel pictures are darker, and on the Xiaomi the colors do look more natural and realistic, like the yellowish tungsten lights in the buildings bouncing off the grass that makes it yellowish green. But when you switch to video, it's like the opposite, where the Xiaomi is a lot much flatter, there's not much like pop to it, and the stabilization is much better on the Pixel. One thing that is really consistent on a Pixel is HDR. A lot of it is really nicely exposed on pretty much all areas. The Xiaomi, sometimes it can be too dark or too bright or just clipping with the highlights. So the software processing does a really good job on the Pixel side. Shooting ultra-wide video is not the best quality. Of course, the color here is the biggest difference, or besides the stabilization, which we talked about earlier. I would say the Pixel is just slightly more noisy, maybe because it's a bit brighter and you can see the shadows where the noise is hidden. I would say the Pixel do have a more processed look where you can see the sharpness happening or it's too over sharpened, but it is a very easy phone to use and I'm sure a lot of regular people would like that. Now for the main wide lens, Xiaomi does have a 1-inch sensor, which is pretty common on a lot of point and shoot cameras. So you will see slightly more background blur, which I think a lot of people do like, and you don't have to move into portrait mode to get into the artificial background blur, which can look pretty unrealistic from time to time. Another pro about having a bigger sensor is it can capture more light, so if you're in super dark situations, you can see more, which also ends up being a cleaner image without seeing a lot of noise or artifacts. Now the Pixels still do a better job at moving objects, or like when you have kids or dogs, or even if you're in a moving car and just happen to hit a bump, I would say the Pixel will come out cleaner and capture the clearer image. Shooting video with the main lens, it seems like there's a lot of color coming back in versus the ultra wide on the Xiaomi, and the stabilization is a lot better too. So the wide lens is the main lens to shoot video on for the Xiaomi, same with the Pixel as well. Video is a lot cleaner on the Xiaomi, especially when you're getting into low light. That 1-inch sensor do help, even though we all know the Pixel is not like a video camera, it's more of a picture first camera. If you're just a regular consumer, it really comes down to what colors you like because they both produce different ones. On Xiaomi, they do have an authentic one and a vibrant one. Throughout this whole video is just vibrant, so you will see a slightly more kick into those colors. One pro I like to point out on a Pixel for video is voice enhancement. When you're vlogging and talking to the camera or Pixel, it is really clear and you can hear your voice better and the background noise to be like lower, especially when you're in an amusement park like this where the background music is blasting and you have a lot of kids running around and people. All that stuff is like toned down and your voice is much more in the foreground. So if you're a vlogger, I would say the Pixel is really nice to use or have. For telephoto, you do have a quick button to go into 3.2x on a Xiaomi and 5x on a Pixel. You may say that the 5x is too much to go from 1x to 5x, and I would say the 3.2 is just a good medium ground. So it'd be nice to have a medium and then like a farther range button for pretty much zooming in. I think the difference here is that the Pixel does have a more over-processed look, or like it's been over-sharpened, which can be a pro, especially at the 30x range, where I think a lot of people will like that since it's clearer or cleaner. On the Xiaomi, it does look more natural, and as you zoom into like 30x or even 70x, it's pretty blurry, but it doesn't look like it's over-processed. If you're a photographer, maybe you'll lean towards that, especially knowing that Xiaomi 13 Pro is a Leica branded phone, so like you would understand all that stuff. But as a regular consumer, I would say the Pixel is just very easy to use. Now putting them two at the 3.2x so they can be like a little bit closer to each other, there's not much difference in terms of like the sharpness because they do seem pretty good. It's just the colors. I do think the Xiaomi does look more natural. The colors do pop a bit more. Ever since I've been using the Xiaomi 13 Pro since it launched, I've been using a lot of the telephoto lens, which I don't normally do. Moving into portrait mode, this is 1x, which the Xiaomi doesn't have officially 1x. It says full body mode and it looks very wide and pretty much similar to a lot of other Android phones with their 1x portrait. It does have a zoom in mode, which I put as 3x and 2x on a Pixel, which does not look good at all, so I would recommend do not use 2x on a Pixel, just stick with 1x. And then there's the pro lenses mode on the Xiaomi, which I do like, where it shows you 35mm, 50mm, like all the regular things we photographers or videographers know and see. I do wish I can turn off the filters and just use the focal lengths, which makes it so much more comfortable for me to use. I personally think the 35mm or the 1x megapixel is a great all-arounder. It's not too wide and it's not too zoom in, and you do get like a nice background compression as well. So you do get a lot of different options on a Xiaomi, from the different focal lengths and also the different pro lenses, which is pretty cool to use. Now for selfies, I do like the Pixel the best out of all phones, just because of the HDR, the processing, all that stuff makes the image so good. Especially when you're taking selfies, it's more like in the moment and you want everyone to look good. Whenever I'm around conferences or events, all the tech YouTubers are like, who has the Pixel for selfies? Just because we know how good it is and we don't want like 10 of us to wait for a while just to take the perfect selfie. So I would say the Pixel is the perfect phone for the regular consumer, which you point, shoot, and it looks good most of the time. I would lean Xiaomi for the ones who knows more about cameras, 1-inch sensors, and know the perks about it. So if you are more of an advanced user who knows what Leica is and knows how to take advantage of all these settings, and especially with the 1-inch sensor, then I would say that is the phone to get. Both are great phones, just for different people. So that is the comparison between these two phones. I do have other comparisons from the Xiaomi to the iPhone or the Galaxy, so go ahead and check those out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.